Hi, I'm Nicole with New World Holistics, and we're going to go over some of the moves we have covered in our past hoop workshops. So that way, if you did manage to make it and join us for one of our workshops and you want to kind of refresh and be able to see things in between, or if you weren't able to join us yet and you want to kind of see what we've been doing and maybe play a little bit around at home, this will help you. Okay, so the first things first for a hoop is just to be able to do it around the waist. Basically, what's commonly thought is that this is a circular motion with the hips, but I'll show you right here what that does. Okay, so we actually need something to hit against the hoop, so it's actually kind of a rocking back and forth movement. Okay, so I'm hitting bam, 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 bam. Okay, so it's equal amount of forward and backwards. Forward and backwards. Okay? So the next part then that you're going to want to work on is learning how to turn in a circle with your hoop. So you want to go in the same direction as your hoop is flowing. So my hoop is going to the left. So I'm going to start to walk in a circle to the left, taking small steps and keeping pumping my hips the whole time. Okay, then I can start to speed it up a little bit. And another way you can do it is you can plant one foot and just kind of do a nice quick little spin. And that helps to gain speed back up, especially if the hoop starts to slow down. And the reason we do this, and we learn very early how to walk around or get out of the way of the hoop, is when we start to do any moves or tricks, especially like when we go to pick it up, if we don't get out of the way of our hoop, it's going to more likely we're going to get tangled in it. So the more we learn to do, the more we learn to keep moving in a circle, and that actually is very beneficial. Okay, and then one of the most unavoidable things is dropping the hoop. Because the hoop, no matter how long you've been doing it, it basically always wants to go back to the floor. Okay? So if our hips start slowing down, our hoop starts slowing down, it starts to go around our waist. Basically, as soon as it starts to get around my hips, I'll start to speed up my hips a little bit, but if it doesn't want to pop back up, oh, sorry, I lost it on my, yep. I'm gonna actually just bend my knees, go down, get it on my waist, and stand right back up and start pumping my hips. Okay, so once again, that looks like this. Starting to slow down, bending down, waist, pump, pump, pump. Okay, and no matter what happens, it is gonna fall. So then what do? Do we pick it up, kind of like this? Oh my God, I dropped the hoop. Now we try to make it a little like, I meant to do that. Okay, so maybe I have shoes on, so I have to kind of just bend over and put it onto my foot. If you're barefoot, you can put one foot over and just kind of put it up onto the top of your foot. All right, and then basically you just give it, you can either just pass it to yourself, you can give it a little kick just to put it into the side that that is on your foot. All right, and watch your face practicing this one because it launches straight at your face. But to get the opposite side, I give a little extra kick and I pass it up to myself. Okay, so that's very useful because it's going to drop. That's a guarantee. All right, so one of our next things is just learning how to break the hoop and go back either side. Oh, which is to mention, one other thing to practice around the waist is actually turning it the second direction. It's not as fun, it's not as easy. A nice rooster there, chiming in. But it's really important to practice for balance and coordination. Okay, so I'm gonna push my hoop, or have my hoop flowing to my right now. I'm gonna rock my hips back and forth, all right? And then too, if I have a hard time, maybe I close my eyes and I just try to feel what's going on with the hoop instead of thinking all the time. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna go over is doing breaks on the waist, okay? So if I'm doing my hoop around my waist, it's going to my left, my most comfortable direction. How do I get it to go then to my right side? Well, basically, I'm gonna take my left hand, it's going to the left, and I'm going to lean my left hip into the hoop as I grab a hold of it and stop it, and then push it back the other way. Okay, so if I'm going to my right now, I'm going to lean my right hip, I'm going to use my right hand to stop it, and break, and push the other way. All right, and then this leads into our front-handed lift, because, you know, hula hooping is not just around the waist anymore. It's or hoop dancing, not just around the waist. We use our whole body, and we want to have more things to do and more options to do to be able to transition from between waist, the arms, the knees, the whatever we choose to use. Okay, so the lift is one of the most useful things. All right, so if my hoop is going to my left, we're going to do a front-handed lift. I'm going to take my left hand all the way over to my right side with my palm up. All right, I'm going to let my hoop kind of flow into my hand, and I'm going to grab a hold of my hoop. As soon as I grab a hold, I'm going to start to turn my body the same direction as my hoop and lift, lift, lift. We have multiple roosters, yes. All right, so we're going to grab the hoop. And turn, 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 lift. Okay, once again, I'll do it to the right now. So if I'm doing it to the right, I'm going to take my right hand to my left side, palm up. Okay, I'm going to let the hoop flow into my hand, grab it, turn, 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 and lift. Grab, turn, 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 and lift. Okay, so now what do we do with it here? Okay, so one of my favorite things to do up here, which goes into many other different moves, is just to kind of do a lasso, which I call it. Okay, so we just kind of let the hoop roll around the back of our hand here. Okay, and one trick I've learned over the years too, because this tends to cause the hoop to go flying, which puts us at risk at hitting somebody, because the hoop usually has some momentum with that. All right, so what I do is my little trick is every time I let it come around on my hand, I just kind of close my hand on it so I have that little bit of control, and then I can even use it to help propel my hoop. Okay? All right, and then once I can do this here and grab a hold of it, we have the next move right there. Because to bring it down again around our waist, all we have to do is grab a hold. You actually stop the hoop. It doesn't actually seem like you stop the hoop, because as soon as you stop the hoop, you start moving in a circle. Okay, so I'm going to grab the hoop and I'm going to spin, 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 turn, and lower my arm. Then when I'm here, I just give it a push around my waist. Okay, so the only thing I'm really doing is going up and down with my arm. We're just going down, 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 turn, 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 turn. All right, so one more time. Grab, turn, 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 down, 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 and around the waist. So it's the same thing with the other side, with the right side, right hand. All right, and then one of the all-time moves is one of the simplest moves you can possibly do, but it's absolutely wonderful. It looks awesome. All right, is basically you can do it from around the waist, break, grab your hoop from the inside, or you can be up here in your lasso, grab a hold, and place your other hand on the inside. And we're gonna just turn, 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 and lower our hoop up and down, trying to keep the hoop nice and level. Okay, so we want to avoid it going vertical. We want to keep it nice and horizontal. You can even bend the knees a little bit, nice and slow, all the way up. So really all the hoop is doing is going and I am turning at the same time. Okay, so you can do it as slow as you need, because you will get dizzy on this one the faster you go. So sometimes I just try to avoid looking at anything on the outside and just try to look at a piece of my hoop or something. All right, but it looks something like this. All right, so from here then, okay, when we come up, we had another little move. It's just kind of a decorative move. And that's doing a little spin in front of us, okay? So we can basically grab a hold again, all right? And as soon as we grab a hold, we start to bring our hoop around the front, and we bring the hoop in and give a little spiral in. As soon as we come out and our elbow's funny like this, turn, 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 and we're back to our lasso. Okay, so again, it looks something like this. We grab, bring it down in front, turn, and back up. Okay, so full speed. All right, when I go full speed, I can even just kind of let it roll around on my finger even. Okay, so looks something like that. All right, and then from here, this leads right into one of our next moves. And it's just practicing a break onto the hip. Okay, so we basically just pass the hoop from side to side, lean each hip to kind of be a stopping force to the hoop, and pass it back and forth. This is also a good abdominal exercise, drawing my belly in towards my spine and just kind of warming up this way, back and forth. I do fairly often. All right. And that covers most of the things we get touched on. We had one different move at the end which didn't really tie into a lot of our other ones, because most of our moves, all right, they can all tie into each other. Like around the waist, break. Around the waist, break. Lift. Lasso. Grabbing, spiral. Back up. Loop in the front. And then we can go ahead back down, bringing it back down, and boom, around the waist. Okay? So the last move didn't really tie into any of these because it's on the vertical plane. And we will go over transitions on how to get from having the hoop horizontal to then vertical in future classes. But we're practicing this one now because this one takes a little time and effort to really get the coordination and flexibility in the shoulder to make it happen. All right, and that's basically, we're trying to isolate the hoop so it stays in one area and looks like it's floating. Okay, you can see I do this with one arm, and I have to let the hoop kind of roll over the back of my hand. So it looks like this if my hand is straight. See how I'm letting it roll over my hand? And if I leave my arm straight, then the hoop moves. Okay, so that's the key, is to get the hoop to stay in one spot. I have to actually use my arms super wide and trace the hoop in the air. We had a different way to practice it though, with two hands. Okay, so we started underhand at the bottom, and we had it kind of low. You drop one hand, let it float up to the top. So as you're moving your hoop, it goes from below you all the way up to the top. Then we switch to the other hand, let go, let the hoop flow your hand flow all the way down to the bottom, switch, all the way to the top, let go, switch. All right, so speeding this up a little bit, looks like such. It's not quite as smooth as it is with one hand, but it's a way to practice it, and just get the feeling of it. Okay, so then when we get used to being able to have the hoop suspended like this, then we can kind of transition into one arm and see how my arm is. That's the trick to get this move. And one of the great ways to practice this move is, any of these moves really, is a mirror. I know sometimes we're like, oh, I don't want to watch myself in the mirror, but it also challenges us to appreciate how our body looks, appreciate how our body moves, appreciate watching our body learn how to do something new. And the other thing I have found very useful, because I like to hoop outside, is on a nice sunny day, especially this one here. You find your shadow in the ground, and then you can kind of watch your hoop and where it goes and see if it's doing this or if it's doing this. Alright, well that should give you guys plenty to work on for the month. And I believe our next class is coming up, I believe August 20th, 2 to 4, Saturday. If I'm wrong about the date, I could be. It's on the website, www.nwholistics.com. I hope you can join us, and thank you so much for watching.